Former Managing Director of the DRA speaking out, Minister of Foreign Affairs scolding Pakeisha Parker Edgecombe, and a forensic audit has been planned for the DRA. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tyler Simonet with your JCN News for this Monday, February 14th. Former Managing Director of the Disaster Reconstruction Authority, Forbes Smith, breaking her silence as she defends allegations thrown at her, particularly concerning the sale of a 154 kW generator to the Grand Bahama Power Company. In a statement on Sunday, Mrs. Forbes Smith revealed some facts as she says enough is enough. With more details, we go to our Lizzie Bastian.
Former Managing Director of the Disaster Reconstruction Authority, Forbes Smith, says enough is enough and she cannot and will not allow her name to be maligned with such brazen and contemptible falsehoods. Mrs. Forbes Smith was on the defense as she refutes online claims, allegations that she stole and sold a 154 kilowatt generator to Grand Bahama Power Company following documents making its rounds on social media last week regarding a few questionable transactions. Mrs. Forbes Smith, in a statement issued on Sunday, says out of respect for the judicial process, she has been reluctant to break her silence in the face of these attacks. The facts are, according to Mrs. Forbes Smith, in September of 2019, she acquired a generator for use at a private home. It was her personal property and was not donated to the government's disaster relief effort following Hurricane Dorian. The acquisition of her unit was in the works before she became involved with the National Emergency Management Agency as a volunteer and months before she was appointed head of the DRA. She says she acquired the unit before any generators donated to the government through NEMA or otherwise arrived in Grand Bahama, and at no time was the generator in question in the possession of NEMA or any other government agency, nor was it ever stored at a NEMA warehouse as claimed. To be clear, she adds, the generator in question had nothing whatsoever to do with the government's relief efforts following Hurricane Dorian. She adds that unfortunately, it turned out that the unit was not purpose fit for residential use, and on the advice of her electrician, she contacted the Freeport Power Company to inquire if they were in need of such a generator. The response was affirmative, and the company agreed to the purchase. Mrs. Forbes Smith vehemently and categorically denies the allegation that she stole a generator from the government or from anyone else, and likewise denies that she acquired a generator intended for the government's disaster relief efforts by any other means. She goes on to say the claims are false, unfounded, a cowardly attack which has caused direct harm to herself and family, as she notes that for more than a week, an army of political operatives and social media trolls have continued to publicly and relentlessly drag her name through the mud in connection with a matter that is currently before the courts. Recently, Mrs. Forbes Smith filed a writ in the Supreme Court against the DRA seeking contractual damages to the tune of over $408,000, which includes 26 months of salary, housing, duty, and fuel allowance. The former president of the Senate, who stepped down in the winter of 2019, says she will not be intimidated and the matter in question will be decided in court based on the merits. For JCN News, I'm Lizzie Bastian.
After coming to the defense of her colleague, Forbes Smith, former director of the Disaster Reconstruction Authority, who has come under fire for the handling or mishandling of recovery efforts on Grand Bahama and the Abacos following Hurricane Dorian, former Member of Parliament for West Grand Bahama and Bimini, Pakeisha Parker Edgecombe, who was also the former Minister of State for Disaster Preparedness, is now coming under fire as well. Last week, Parker Edgecombe said Forbes Smith deserves to be paid the more than $403,000 as a result of her terminated contract shortly following the general elections. On Monday, Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Public Service Fred Mitchell released a statement in which he suggested Mrs. Parker Edgecombe has no grounds to defend Forbes Smith.
This time, she was seeking to defend the indefensible and, as usual, missed the point entirely. Mrs. Parker was claiming that it was unfair for the public to attack the salary and benefits of K. Forbes Smith as managing director of the Disaster Relief Agency or Authority, some $150,000 plus with perks, it turns out. For the benefit and edification of Mrs. Parker and others, the point is not the salary and the benefits. That would all be fine if there was evidence of performance. The criticisms, as I understand it, are, how does someone claim those monies when the people of Abaco and Grand Bahama are still suffering in damaged homes, unrepaired infrastructure, and both Abaco and Grand Bahama are covered in unsifted debris?
Mr. Mitchell noted that the F&M party leader, Michael Pintard, has been quiet regarding the Forbes Smith contract. Mr. Mitchell also had a bit of advice for Mrs. Parker Edgecombe.
In politics, Mrs. Parker, as a public figure, you cannot be so self-absorbed that you cannot know and appreciate in an objective manner where we are in life. That defense of the actions of K. Forbes Smith shows that right now you are lost in space.
Since the onslaught of allegations, Mrs. Forbes Smith has released a statement denying any wrongdoing. A forensic audit has been planned for the Disaster Reconstruction Authority, according to its executive chairman, Alex Storr. The audit will be conducted into the operations of the DRA, which Mr. Storr contends were improperly managed. The DRA was established under the former administration to manage disaster recovery and reconstruction following the devastation to the islands of Abaco, its Keys, and Grand Bahama in the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian.
We have, through the Ministry of Finance, engaged the services of UHY Bain to conduct an operational audit. Because of the many revelations and clear signs of mismanagement, we have now asked that this be switched to a forensic audit. What's clear is that the Disaster Reconstruction Authority, while a good thought and idea by the former administration, appears to have been grossly mismanaged and hampered by poor execution. From the current internal structure, the extremely high salaries, the way contracts were negotiated, the apparent conflicts of interest, and the lack of compliance and management of every project.
Chairman Storr further contends that he, along with the board of directors, held out hope that once on the ground in the disaster zones, that things would be explained.
You know, sometimes you may have a bad decision, but it may be a necessary decision. And so we looked at the factors that went into making these decisions. You go on the ground, you assess, and then you see, well, okay, this may not be the right decision, but I could see why it was the decision at the time. Unfortunately, once we got on the ground, that didn't happen. Things just got worse, and there were more questions that had to be asked.
Mr. Storr, during the Office of the Prime Minister's weekly press briefing on Friday, over the past 2 weeks, the DRA team, along with its board of directors, visited the Abacos and Grand Bahama and says there's still a lot that needs to be done. The Bahamas adding 9 COVID-19 related deaths to the country's overall death toll. The Ministry of Health and Wellness reporting these unfortunate deaths in its latest dashboard for Saturday, February 12th. Among the victims, 6 residents of Grand Bahama, 4 females and 2 males ranging in age from 59 years old to 85 years old. 2 females of New Providence, a 74-year-old and a 39-year-old, and a resident of Eleuthera, a 73-year-old female. These deaths were reported between January 19th and February 9th this year. Of the 9 deaths reported, 3 of them previously under investigation are now being reclassified as COVID-19 related deaths. These deaths bring the COVID death toll in country to 766. 45 deaths remain under investigation. As for new COVID-19 infections, just 6 cases were confirmed, 1 on New Providence, 2 on Grand Bahama and Abaco, 1 on Eleuthera. Total COVID cases now at 32,931, with 6,530 active cases. 42 people are in hospital with the virus, 38 moderately ill, 4 fighting off the virus in intensive care. 4 people recovered from the virus on Saturday. Total recoveries at 25,424. The Ministry of Social Services and Urban Renewal combined their efforts today in a joint community outreach initiative on Windsor Park. The initiative was initially aimed at the Bain and Grandtown community. However, the turnout had a far greater reach. Among the attendees, the Minister of State for Social Services, Lisa Raming, said this is just the first in a laundry list of initiatives the government plans to bring on stream to ease the social and financial pressures off of those in the inner city.
Minister Obi Wilchcombe, who's the Minister for Social Services and Urban Development, he came up with this wonderful idea that he brought to the team, and we jumped on it and we executed. And the whole purpose of this is to spread love and to show love to those who are marginalized, the homeless, those who feel brokenhearted, those who just want to have some clean fun today on this Valentine Day. And so our theme is spread the love. And so we have persons from here, there, and far. You know, we initially put it for the inner city, but we see people from everywhere coming. We're not turning anybody away. And so we have up to 1,000 plates of food. We have drinks, we have music, we have entertainment, we have DJ Pencil, we have the Urban Renewal Pop Band who is also here entertaining. We have residents dancing and singing. So today is not an officious day. We decide to just let our hair down and have fun with the residents, dancing and singing and just showing them some love.
This particular outreach initiative facilitated the feeding of some 1,500 persons and, according to Social Service Minister Obi Wilchcombe, provides a great opportunity for the government to reach out and connect with the wider community.
You know, in the pipeline, we are focusing especially on some more housing facilities for homeless persons. Even though we have some in place now, it's not sufficient. We also have, we have a marching band, our pop band. We're going into the schools along with the police and the civilians. We've joined hands as one to conduct the band. So they've already been in most of the schools in the inner cities to pull children out. So our band is 100 strong now. And then we have our after-school program that is about to come on stream very soon. Entrepreneurship program, apprenticeship program, manufacturing program. So we have the works. And so we really look forward to bringing more to this country and giving people a sense of hope. Those who feel like, I have no job, I ain't gonna never get no job. No, we're here to provide hope and help to those people.
You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.